We're so privileged to have Anthony Iramosele. He's the SA Partnerships and Programs to the Director General of the National Orientation Agency. Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Larry Issa Onilu. Mr. Anthony Iramosele is joining us virtually from Abuja, from the national headquarters of the National Orientation Agency. Mr. Anthony, very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mr. Evans.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so I'll say thank you despite a very tight schedule at the office this morning, so you still found time to join us. All right, so I want to say kudos to what the National Orientation Agency started recently in collaboration with the National Population Commission, trying to ask Nigerians to register birth and all that. Now, it is not the first time that we are doing that, but this time it's been done differently. I mean, doing it electronically and all that. Now, what do we intend to achieve? Let's start it from there.
Okay, thank you very much, Evans. Good morning. For the national birth registration drive that is happening across the country, what we intend to achieve is for us to have every child 0 to 5 years registered, for them to have their NIN, basically. So we are actually advocating for people across the country, especially in rural community, where we have these traditional birth attendants to come out and visit their various primary health center or any MPC offices nearby so that they get their ward registered. What we are trying to achieve by this is to ensure that every child have their first um, documents that will safeguard their right and privilege, because this document is going to ensure the benefit for the necessary privilege in the future. So the basic thing we are trying to achieve in this, first of all, is to enlist everybody that is not registered um, or to be registered to have their birth certificate issued by the National Population Commission. And then this is done across the country, and we are working across the 774 local government areas, as well as all the wards. So we are in partnership with the National Population Commission, which is supported by UNICEF. So these are what we are doing at the moment, and I'll stop for here.
Okay. All right. So, if I heard you correctly, you talked about the NIN, that's the National Identification Number. Now, for some, that is still an issue in the country today. A lot of persons are still struggling with their NIN. Now, did you say that the NIN is something that you need to have before the birth registration, or the fact that the birth registration can replace the NIN? Was that what you said?
Okay, no, not at all. So what we are saying is that when the people go out to register their wards to help for them to have their birth certificate, these children 0 to 5 years old, in addition to registering these children, capturing them, they are going to be issued national identification number at the point of registration. These children 0 to 5 years. So they don't have to wait till they are 18 to go and be struggling to queue to get their NIM, which is obviously seen in some sports when people are registering to get their NIM. So we are trying to solve the issue of all this long queue when people get older before they get their NIN. So with this birth registration, e-birth registration happening across the country, this is embedded into it, where the kids are able to get their NIM at the point of registering, where the parents are also able to get their NIM if they don't have also at the point of registering their ward for the birth registration. And this is actually free of charge during the period of this our program, which is now to the ending of November. And then the all that is needed is for the parents to just come for this various center, come to this various center, I beg your pardon, with a means of identification, which can be birth certificate, which can be a driver's license, just any national identity. So this is just what is required, and everything and the process is free.
All right. So what about those that did their registration manually? Like for me, I did my birth registration manually. So what is going to happen to my own birth registration? Does it mean that it is no more valid?
Okay, no, the focus here is for children 0 to 5 years old. So
Mm.
if for those that did their birth registration manually, for adults, let's say 18 years above, you can also visit National Population Commission what you're going to be issued is attestation, but not birth certificate. You're going to be issued attestation and do the necessary process, and you get your attestation certificate, which is certified, stamped by National Population Commission, which also makes for the birth certificate because you are able to use that just the way you use your birth certificate, which is also recognized by the government.
All right. So the reason why I'm asking that question this morning is because of the times that we are in. I mean, technologically, globally today, you find out that you don't need to be at somewhere to get information about somebody. I mean, with a simple tap on your computer, you get the biometrics, the data of individuals, and all that. Now, this idea of carrying paper along, one would have expected that, okay, now that we have the e-registration of bets, for those that had their bets registered manually, one would have thought that, okay, let the National Population Commission, in collaboration with your agency, the National Registration Agency, begin to see how they can now make those, maybe phase those manual documents into the e-electronic documents. What would you have to say about that?
Okay. On this issue, and though the project is actually centric on children registration 0 to 5 years old, for all others, and like we talked about, is the National Population Commission. They are actually very available to assist citizens that need assistance in whatever form they need that, especially in this conversation now talking about manual to digitalization. So that is in their preview actually. So what is required is just to visit the nearest MPC office and seek answers to these various queries, which I believe they are always available to make provision and answers for. So it is very important that as we are in the digital age, everything is digitalized. So what we are trying to do is to support the social behavioral support the awareness creation, support the mobilization for people to come out and go to this various registration center to register. So NOA duty in this tripartite partnership of UNICEF, MPC, and us. What we are actually about is all about awareness creation for this social mobilization, letting people know that this is going on, and also letting them know where it is happening and answering their various queries. And this we are actually doing across the country in all the 774 local government and across the world. So our duties in this particular birth registration drive is to make for awareness and sensitization for people to know the importance of this birth registration and for them to actually embrace it, especially now that it's free. Everything is free. Your NIM, getting your NIM, registering your word and getting that, everything is just free. The only thing that we are asking when you go for this various centers where they have MPC have their ad hoc staff at, all you just have to do is to show them a form of identification. So maybe a question may arise that what about the people that don't have any form of identification like driver's license and passport, international passport, or any form of identification? You also advised to go with, even though it's hospital card, anything that just shows a national identity that represents, that shows your name and a affiliation to any national registered institution, like let's say hospital card now, that is also acceptable. And it's not a strict measure. This is just done in a flexible way to accommodate and to ensure that everybody are able to access these services at this period.
Okay, all right. So Nigeria, has a large expanse of rural settlements. I mean, you mentioned that a while ago. So how are you guys dealing with rural settlements in line with this e-registration and all that? I mean, we still have settlement that they don't even have the internet and all that. So how are you taking the message down there?
Okay, this is why National Orientation Agency is uniquely positioned to actually be the best agency to go about the social behavioral change and awareness creation, because the organization they have robust resource and manpower to be able to bring about this sensitization and awareness creation. The agency has offices across the state, across the zone, across the 774 local government area. And in this local government area, all the world, we also have our community mobilizers and support staff all there. So what we do is beyond sensitization and awareness creation online, we also use what we are known for, and using our foot soldiers to reach out to this various hard to reach area which we are talking about to pass these messages. And this message we are doing through motorized campaign. We do rallies, we do motorized campaign, we do door-to-door sensitization. And we are also leveraging the fact that we believe that in this various community, we have community gatekeepers. So what we do is also should have dialogue and engagement with these community gatekeepers to let them know what is going on in their community so that they have buy-in, and also give these people free hand to go about sensitizing people, making them know about what is going on, and go about and creating awareness in these particular issues for them to come out for this e-bet registration to register their word. And this is actually for us, it's actually seamless because it is not something that's even come off as a stressor to the agency because of the robust manpower we have across board. We have offices across the country, which approximately is about 812 offices across the country. And this is big enough, and this is also well enough to accommodate every nook and cranny of Nigeria because we have our staff spread across these areas you're talking about. And the unique part about how we are going about our messaging is the fact that we don't just pass our message using English. We utilize these concepts of our community mobilizers that come from this various community to spread these messages in their local language and dialect, so that these people understand better what we are trying to say and the importance of them coming out to register their word and why they should be part of this process.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit before we continue now. Let's talk a little bit about the National Orientation Agency because anytime I'm opportune to bring you guys on set, I always go back to the days of MAMSA, the Mass Mobilization for Socioeconomic Recovery era, and all that and all that. And of course, issues of mass mobilization then was very, very conspicuous. There were things that we saw, but now the National Orientation Agency seems to be foot dragging. Well, I understand that your funding, that you have issues with funding. I mean, your funding is tripartite in the sense that the federal government has a role, the state governments have a role, then the local governments also have a role. Now, Mr. Eromsela, tell us who is at fault, in this tripartite funding issue? Is it the federal government, the state government, or the local government councils across the country?
Okay, you talked about food dragging. I think maybe if this is a conversation of maybe previous months, okay, maybe I will speak to that perfectly well in terms of okay, fund constraint to the fact that things are not done the way it's supposed to be done in terms of like more awareness creation in the country and all. But presently, let's speak to present happenings and reality. If you check everywhere, you can see the good work that NOA is doing, and how they are getting traction across board for various activities that is being carried out in the agency. But that is not to say that there are no chances for more funding for continuous work. And this is where I will also say that if you, for those people that may be that come from development space, you understand that the importance of sustainable development goal 17 that makes for partnership for the good. But sometimes when we talk about fund constraint in terms of bringing about implementation or bringing about awareness creation in the country, we understand that this is Nigeria is a country, and but sometimes you also understand that the issue of fund is not uniquely to the particular agency. What is obtainable to one MDA is what goes at the one agency is also goes across every MDA. So the issue of funding, and we cannot overemphasize that that aspect actually, because when it comes to funding to create enablement of deliverables in terms of government agencies duty, it is also development partner, private partner. That's why we have private public partnership. It's also welcome. Private sector through their CSR can also leverage the activities that government is carrying on to buy into it and fund that to make sure that is possible. But that is not to say we presently NOA is doing a whole lot in terms of awareness creation in the country, especially with our identity project that is carried out across the country. We're talking about the social contract, the National Value Charter 747, that makes for citizens code and the government promises, which talks about the Nigerian promise in terms of equality, democracy, entrepreneurship, peace, inclusivity, freedom and meritocracy. And we should also talk about the citizens' code of discipline, duty of care, tolerance, and the rest of it. So these activities are all carried out in the country, and I think things are taking shape. And all we are just saying is for Nigerian citizens to do their part, and as well as government to the country to play its part in ensuring that there's freedom, there's inclusivity in everything that's going on, and there's equality in everything that's going on in the country. So
Oh,
funding, we can never emphasize that conversation. Is that we are always open for collaborative partnership with every MDAs and even development partners, because this issue of continuous sensitization, because we in the agency, we believe that, sorry,
just all
so
right, sir. Yeah.
we believe that to better the country, we have to also first of all equip the citizens for us to also before we better Nigerians. So that is why we are going with this our national drive for identity project actually. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. Now, before we talk about the national charter value, the one that has to do with the National Identity Project, which your organization, the National Orientation Agency, seems to be very, very interested in now. Now, let's look at the level of collaboration and perhaps the level of cooperation with Nigerians in this e-bet registration thing, Mr. Ramosele.
To be 100% frank, the e-bet registration has if negative side as well as a positive side. The advantages is very quite numerous. We've been talking about it. So the basic challenges that we've experienced in working across the country is the fact that citizens have this concern of uh, the issue of there's hunger in the land. You are here talking about best registration. Hello, we want more advocacy on how we get food to eat, how we ability to self-sustain basically. So these are another issue. But at the same time, we are not going to say because the we are not going to say we should just rule out a particular issue because we have another issue. So the question is that every organization, every MDAs that have the mandate to do what they have to do to go about doing what they ought to be doing so that we ensure that we have a country that citizens are well catered for. We recognize the fact that the country have its ups and its down. It's also very important regardless. So I will not say because, let's say, for instance, I've not drank water, I will not listen to somebody telling me watch the road before you cross. So another would I say because I'm hungry at the moment and I've not eaten, I will refuse to listen to somebody telling me move away from there because something is about to fall. You understand? So what we are trying to just say in essence is the fact that though what we're trying to say is the fact that it is important for children 0 to 5 years to be registered, especially those in the rural community. In fact, not just rural community, even in the urban center. If your ward is not registered, 0 to 5 years old, it's very important they are registered because this is the first legal acknowledgement of the child existence, and which is also essential to safeguarding their right and privilege, not just now, but in the future. Because we believe with that health certificate, with them having their NIN, it's also a basic way for them to have access to services. In the education system today, before you register for your child as resuming university, you child need to have NIN. Before they even, one of the documents they require for the child is from the child is birth certificate. So these things, especially for the children that are not privileged to come from the well-to-do family, what we are advocating for everybody now is to ensure that get the right document, get necessary documents so that your child future will be secure and you have seamless process when the time comes.
Yeah, you're talking about the importance of registration. Well, you're talking about e-registration now, but this is not the first time that Nigerians are registering birth. It's not the first time that parents are registering the birth of their children. And little wonder, Nigerians have not been seeing a commensurate development in regard to birth registration and all that. Little wonder. Uh, what do you think are the issues? The economy is not friendly, and it seems that the population, the citizens are not planned for, unlike in some other climes. citizens are planned for as a result of birth registration, registration and all that. But back home in Nigeria, it is not the same. So what do you think are the issues? Or in other words, this e-birth registration now, what difference is it going to bring to Nigerians? Is it going to bring to the difference of better life and all that and all that?
Okay, one thing the birth registration is going to do is going to ensure proper planning. You and I will agree that we have a data issue in the country. So if you, that is, I don't think anybody can even deny that fact. We have data issue in the country, and it's also very important we have accurate data for to ensure for accurate to ensure for good national planning as well. If let's talk about Edo State now, you say you're talking about you want to work, let's say, take a Eboma for instance, as an example. How do you know the total number of people that exist or that live in that town? So if you don't know the total number of people that live in that town, you will not be able to plan adequately. Either you short plan or you over plan is a benefit, but the bad side of it is that if you don't plan accurately, you will not be able to also actually reach these people and actually be able to bring about the community development in these various communities and that exist in that town. So what the birth registration makes for and why it is important is because it ensures adequate national planning and development for the country and basically, that is one of the major vital importance for accurate planning, and it also make for good data bank because that way we are able to understand the total. You talk about birth rate, and you also talk about death rate. This also the duty of an MPC and the agency that are tasked to actually go about that. So, like I said, we the agency, National Orientation Agency, is just to bring about the awareness to mobilize people to come out for this thing. So the other good part about this birth registration that is ongoing, regardless of what has happened in the past, is the fact that without just talking about the national planning that this ensures for, it helps us to have a very good data bank, which is one of the problems we have in the country. We have a lot of issues around data. This e-birth registration is going to help us have a good data bank for the total number of people that are registered in the various community, the total number of people that are within certain age segregation that are registered in that country. And this is going to also make for good national planning as well. And able to have a sense of identity also through the NIN where numbers, necessary linkage is done. You're able to know the identities of various individuals. And this also is going to help in terms of help various agencies, like let's talk about and crime, for instance, now with the national NIM, with proper data and proper documentation, we are able to also fight issues like crime because we are able to know some location, address, and whereabouts of some particular cities, which we don't pray for any deviance behavior in the society, but just for the ability to be able to work with various agencies to curb issues like crime or various different behavior or anything that will cause social panic in society. So with accurate data like this, we are able to work with various partners and agencies to bring about society where values are the things we are beginning to see that is being propagated and there's all being promoted. So that is just it.
Okay, a while ago you talked about the National Value Charter. It was only a few weeks ago that we saw the Federal Executive Council actually putting a launch to that charter and mandating the National Orientation Agency to ensure that it is being enshrined in the minds of Nigerians. Now, the charter has two segments. You have the one that has to do with citizens, then the other one that has to do with elected officials into governance in Nigeria. But tell us, Mr. Eromosele, you know, Nigerians, they just hear these things and off they go. How do we now begin to enshrine this national value charter that gives rise to the National Identity Project? How do we enshrine it in the minds of Nigerians, particularly the elected officials, you know, and also the ordinary Nigerians? How do we do that?
Okay, thank you very much for this. The 747 actually have an additional seven. So presently we have 747 and seven. So the remaining plus seven now also talking is actually answering this question you just
What are the
asked. That
seven
talk
for
about
seven? Because of viewers this morning, what are the 7 for 7?
Okay. Before we talk about how we're going to enshrine it on the citizens, how we talk about this first seven also actually talks about the Nigerian promise, which makes for equality. So it is the duty of the government, the country, to ensure that equality ensures in the country. We have democracy. We have entrepreneurship. It's also the duty of the country to ensure there's enablement for business to thrive in the country. So for peace also to reign in the country, we have peace. We have inclusivity. So not leaving any region behind, not leaving any area behind. Also, it's also we have freedom and we have meritocracy. That is the Nigerian promise. The other seven is in the Citizens Code that talks about discipline. So we live in this present time and age where we have a lot of value being eroded in a lot, and we've seen that evidently. So what the Citizens Code makes for is citizens' responsibility to the country now to ensure that we are disciplined. We have the duty of care. So we Nigerians, we are known for a lot of things in the world, but this the few bad eggs that soil our name globally that don't actually define who we are generally as citizens of this country. So the duty of care, these are one of the things we are known for as Nigerians. We come through for our neighbors. We come through for people close to us. If we see our neighbors hungry, Nigeria is a country where if I'm hungry, I can actually knock on your door and say, bros, I bet you're hungry. You can just say, okay, take this. That is what defines us. But people should know what defines us as citizens and not the few bad eggs that are soiling our name across the board. So this is what we're talking about when we say bad citizens code. We have tolerance. We have leadership. So we have accountability as one of the seven for the Citizens Code, citizens' duty now to the country. And we have environmental awareness. And lastly, we have resilience. These are what makes for the 7 for 7, the Nigerian promise and the Citizens Code. So how are these things going to, how are we going to promote all these things? This is just what you ask in your question. And we have also +7, in addition to our 7 for 7, which talks about how we are going to bring this to pass. Number one of that is institutionalizing of cartoon character. We have a young population, young children that consume a lot of foreign content, and we know that child upfront learning actually makes for child formidable age as they grow up. So children, we know that they tend to learn faster by what they see over what you tell them. So what we are trying to advocate or promote in the agency is to ensure that we have institutionalized cartoon where we produce cartoon for consumption for our world. These cartoons will teach values. If you go to National Orientation social media handle or their website, you will see samples of cartoon we are creating, maybe talking about various values. So these are what we are trying to talk about. These are where we are going to teach all these citizens code in terms of discipline, duty of care, tolerance, leadership, accountability, and resilience. We also have the citizen study. How we're going to bring this to pass is to ensure that people this has also been discussed with the relevant stakeholders and bodies and the department that are in charge of this. NO has finalized talks to ensure to have citizen studies in schools. This should be embedded in curriculum where citizens learn about their value system. Just like we have in university, you have the GST that talks about Nigerian people and culture. So this is similar to something like that, where we have citizen study, where we talk about, we teach people about our values and our various norms in our country. So we have the Citizens Brigade. So this is another form we are going to institutionalize. We are going to bring about this 7 for 7 we are advocating for, which is a social contract actually between the country and the citizen. The Citizens Brigade, we are starting first with 47,000. So we are going to be having 1,000 Citizens Brigade in each state. That is the 36 states of the country and FCT. So the Citizens Brigade is going to be in schools like primary and secondary school, just like you have, for example, the Boys Brigade, the Girls Brigade, and the Boy Scouts. So this Citizens Brigade will be similar to that, but this is just centric on promoting Nigerian value at the earliest stage of the child life. So we have how we are going to bring about this also in terms of international and global campaign. We talk about media advocacy and marketing and promotion. So you see, if you watch some media, you see countries talking about the need for you to visit the country, visit so today, visit so today, and they tell you about the good about, they tell you all the good about the country, show you tourist sites and attraction. So what we are doing now is we are going to adopt similar, not just that, not that style, but something related to that to promote our values, to promote what makes us tick as a country. So we're also going to talk about it in the NYC, various NYC orientation camp. This is where we are going to also discuss the importance of value orientation and value system, because like we said, we believe in changing Nigerians first before we can change Nigeria.
Okay.
So these are the people that are going to bring about change in the country, and so others.
All right, so because of time, we'll let you go now. We are going to ensure that we'll bring you back on set so that we can talk more on this national identity project that this present administration has started with the National Orientation Agency. So what we are saying in essence this morning is that the importance of e-registration, e-birth registration can never be overemphasized. And of course, we are telling Nigerians that e-birth registration is on and that Nigerians should take advantage of it.
Of course.
Okay. All right, so I want to say a very big thank you to you. Yeah, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Anthony Ramosele, SA Partnerships and Programs, to the Director General, Larry Isa Onilu, that's the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, joining us virtually from the National Orientation Agency headquarters in Abuja. Thank you so much for that time there. All right, so